Signal from the presidency indicates that the process of implementation of a new minimum wage may not start soon, not until President Bola Tinubu consults widely with critical stakeholders and other wage-paying entities. This is to agree on an amount that is feasible and affordable without causing negative economic implications. The Nigeria Governors Forum has also agreed to continue engaging key stakeholders to reach a mutually agreeable solution. The governor's recent position comes after an initial rejection of the 60,000 proposed by the federal government. It seems the Nigeria Labour Congress and the governors may be getting set for a showdown over what seems to be a lack of political will or foot-dragging over the matter. The Nigeria Labour Congress says recent statements made by some governors regarding their desire to pay what they deem fit to Nigerian workers is not only dictatorial, but also undermines the very essence of the model adopted for creating a national minimum wage in Nigeria. Well, joining me live in the studio to talk about the way out of another labor showdown is Jesutega Onokpasa, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Well, he once said also that President Bola Tinubu will have to sack 90% of the workforce before the government can pay labor's initial demand of 494,000 naira. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thankfully, Labour has also soft pedal now and even changed course, but they still do not agree to the federal government's proposal of 62,000 naira, and now President Bola Tinubu has said that he will consult. The governors are also saying that they will consult. But in all of this now, it appears as if the governors are the villain in this whole scenario, because Labour is picking out the governors for their refusal to pay 60,000 or 62,000 naira. Who is Labour being unfair, or are the governors also not trying to match up with the demands of Labour and give workers a fair deal?
You see, this issue of minimum wage is very, very complicated. And I think it is not being taken seriously by stakeholders on all sides. To be fair to Labour, I mean, I've called out Labour before, even their leaders, who happen to be my friends. The amounts that have been proposed by the governors are just absolutely ridiculous. You cannot justify such low wages, such low salaries, such low income in this economy. Now, the amounts that Labour itself was initially requesting was absolutely absurd and unpayable. So I don't know where they got that idea from of demanding such absolutely unpayable amounts, which they themselves cannot pay to their domestic workers, as I had earlier called them out. Now, there is at least one state in Nigeria that, well, is apparently paying 70,000 naira minimum wage, which is Edo State.
And some people have said that is political, Election is around the corner.
Yes, but if it is, who cares? That is debatable. If it is paying 70,000, it is paying 70,000. That is evidence. Whoever can prove it is political, that is the person's headache. Now, if Edo State, which is per capita poorer than Delta State, can pay 70,000, I don't see why Delta State can pay 100,000. Now, I do not see why Lagos State cannot pay 100,000 minimum wage. I don't see why Rivers State, why Akwa Ibom cannot pay 100,000. I don't see why Bayelsa can pay 120,000. So what I would advocate is let the federal government get a minimum wage. That wage, nobody can pay below that minimum.
But let me talk about some states now, because some of these governors have argued that if you look at the percentage of the workforce compared to the population, in some states the workforce can just be about 10% or 5% of the entire population.
1%
they still have the entire population
to
cater for.
Yes.
They have other projects to do, other infrastructure, capital projects, and other things to do beyond paying paying workers.
Femi, the governors are being, with due respect to them, and a lot of them are my friends, they are being indolent and unimaginative. Your job as a government is to find means of raising revenue. You have to pay your workers. They work. Now, if you want to streamline, if you want to get the workers working and justifying their wages, that's a different argument entirely. But you don't say you don't have income. What is your job as a governor? Raise income. Raise income. You have workers to pay. That's just one part of it. You have infrastructure to develop. You have citizens to take care of. It is your duty as a government to raise the revenue for that. It is your duty to create the enabling environment for businesses to thrive, for commerce to thrive, and then you now tax and spend. So that is not an excuse. That is complete balderdash with due respect to them.
Okay, how about also the argument of the effect it's going to have on the economy? You know, when these wages are increased, it also leads to inflation. And right now we're already handling a level of inflation. Food prices are high and all of that. And then a lot of them say that if these wages are increased to maybe above 60,000, these high food prices may never come down.
That's absolute nonsense. The truth is that we are currently on 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Indeed.
Now, personally, I don't pay anybody 30,000 because my conscience will not allow me to pay my fellow man 30,000. With that 30,000 minimum wage, we already have a completely insane rate of inflation. So it is not because there's too much money circulating in the economy by way of salaries that we have inflation. This inflation is actually as a result of pure greed, with greedy, crazy people all across the country arbitrarily increasing prices of goods and services, especially and rather satanically of food items. You understand me? Which led me to call on our president, President Tinubu, to take extraordinary measures to curb this pure insanity. The rate of food inflation, especially, the rate of inflation generally, but especially of food, cannot be justified under any economic paradigm. It's just pure greed. People have just formed cartels all over. There's cartel for pepper, for tomatoes, for palm oil, for rice, for this and that. That is what is going on, Femi. That's exactly what is going on. So that is a different argument entirely. But even if the governors or whoever is saying that if they increase salaries, it will lead to inflation, that is absolute rubbish. The truth is that with the low salaries, the abysmally, rather abominably low salaries we have, we still have prices change every day. You know, they change every day. You go to buy something today is 100 naira. You better buy all of it. Okay. Because by tomorrow it will be 150
Okay, hold
naira.
your thoughts on reducing food prices of food items. I hear we have our correspondent, JC Telfida, to give us an update on the situation in Borno State. Hi, JC. Good evening.
Good evening, Femi.
Yes, tell us about the situation in Goza. We hear that the death toll has increased to 18. But now the question is, why Goza? Remember, this was also the caliphate of the Boko Haram sect when they held sway around 2014, 2015.
Thank you very much. It's a known fact that Goza is a town bordered to Cameroon, and you know how our borders are porous. It's very easy for these insurgents, according to locals, for them to, infiltrate the town, unleash their mayhem, and, go back. I think this is one of the main aims there. And don't forget that people in Goza are now trying to pick up the pieces of their lives. Last month, we were there together with Governor Babakena Umar Azulum, where he donates a sum of 250 million naira for women, for them to start up a business. These are returnees that are trying to pick up the pieces of their lives, on a new leaf and start afresh. And recently, the president also approved a school there to be established in Goza. That's a federal polytechnic, and work has commenced in earnest, and it's in its finishing stage. The town is coming back to life, and this unfortunate incident coming up yesterday, it came as a shock to people because suicide bomb attacks are things people from Borno State have started to forget about.
Yes, indeed. This is a huge setback for that particular local government in Borno State. I remember there was a time that the entire local government was sacked by Boko Haram when a lot of people fled to safety. What's the situation now? Are people still, do they still have that sense of safety despite what happened? I understand that, yes, there's panic, there's fear and all of that, but have they started leaving, or are they still there? Is there a sense of security after that attack?
Yeah, it's funny to say that after any other attack in Borno State, because people are now becoming resilient, there will be an attack this minute, and the next minute you see people going about their normal businesses. Now, these are things that it's normal for people in Borno State. So in Goza, as I've spoken to top security officials there, they said everything is calm. People are going about their normal businesses, but there is a curfew in Goza so as to checkmate security threats in the area. This evening, the Borno State acting governor, that is the deputy governor, together with the senator representing Southern Borno, who hails from Goza, that's Mohammed Ali Jume, were together at the hospital this evening to see victims, survivors of the attack. And they made a donation of 5 million naira to take care of the medical bills. And they assured of their support to the families of the victims. And they said they would soon go to Goza for condolence visits, to also assure the people there that they will be doing everything possible to ensure that security of lives and property is the main priority for the government.
All right, then. Thanks, JC Tafida, for your brilliant reporting out there in Maiduguri. And please do stay safe. We'll take a quick break at this point. Our guest is still Jesu Tega Onokwasa, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thanks for staying with us. We're talking about the rising food prices, and you said there is no justification for that. Absolutely. But a lot of people have said that if you look at the cost of transporting these food items from the farms to the markets, all of that is factored into the prices of food. And also insecurity, which is reducing productivity and causing scarcity. That is why, because these commodities are scarce, they are also becoming quite expensive. And this is not justifiable causes of high prices.
There is a point up to which transportation, insecurity, low productivity, these are genuine problems. Even corruption, countless checkpoints along the food chain.
Taxation.
Yes, there is a point up to which it would increase prices. The prices have increased far astronomically above that. So it is pure greed and cartelization. All through the supply chain, So our president just has to take some extraordinary measures. And for me, the measures are not this one of giving governors money or further handouts to families, I just do not, our president always means well. But there are the bitter truth which we just have to own up to and stand up against is that the truth is that corruption will undercut all these good efforts on the part of President Tinubu. So what I would advocate is totally unprecedented, because this thing is just crazy. Totally unprecedented, an emergency situation on food prices. I don't know what is happening at the Federal Consumer Protection Commission. I don't know what the hell they are doing. I believe even crazy.
They just have a new man in charge.
Yes,
now.
but it's an institution. It should be working whether or not there's a new man in charge. The EFCC should. This increase in food prices is an economic crime as far as I'm concerned. The EFCC should be more bothered about that than arresting people for spraying money or other ridiculous reasons. We just, all of us, we just have to combine now. You understand me? As a party, as a government, as patriotic citizens, to bring down prices of goods and services, especially of food products. They don't make any economic sense. There's no. I would like you to invite people like Bismarck, my brother Bismarck Rwanda. They will tell you that it does not make sense. It cannot make sense. It's just pure greed. It's usury gone awry. You know, people are just being greedy. Then they increase the prices. Then they now blame Bola Tinubu for the prices they themselves increase. You know, so we just have to get these prices down. If it is to flood the market with food, let those who are hoarding food, who are speculating, food speculators, let them keep their food in their house until in their warehouses or the food will spoil. Those are short-term measures. Let's just destroy the cartels. Now, in the long term, all this money we want to give to governors and distribute as palliatives, for God's sake, let's invest it in agriculture. We spend too little money, Femi, on agriculture in this country. Damn too little money. How can we are spending up to 90 billion on a Hajj, then we are spending how many? 300 billion. Even if we spent 9 trillion on agriculture, it will not be enough.
Well, just this week, on Thursday, you know, the president also joined the governors at the National Economic Council meeting, where he urged governors to meet targets on food security, and also approved the immediate rollout of National Construction and Household Support Program.
Yes.
But, you know, he said something now. He told them, I asked how much of his support do they need, and he's willing and ready to go all the way to ensure that these governors meet the target.
The problem with the governors, Femi, is that, you see, they are playing a game of convenience. If you notice the political perceptions, people don't blame governors for hunger. Rather, they blame a governor for not tarring their particular street. Do you understand me? Everybody now blames just one man, a president, for the hunger of 200 million people. It is unreasonable. Providing food for a nation is everybody's business. I don't know how familiar you are with America. In America, agriculture starts from the town council. Then it goes to county. Then it goes to state. Then the federal government just supports everybody. Now, we are putting all the load on a president. How can that work? What are the governors doing to facilitate farming in their various jurisdictions? What are the local governments doing? Farming is local. So everybody, and nobody should be allowed to pay lip service to agriculture.
And there's also the issue of climate change now. Maybe governors are not doing much to mitigate the effects of this climate change, because we have even seen this rainy season, we have seen the patterns have been inconsistent.
The climate that we have, regardless of climate change, the climate we have is good enough to plant food. The governors are just, and the local government chairmen are just busy being comfortable that at the end of the day, it is still Bola Tinubu people will blame for hunger. And they are sleeping on their hours and not discharging their responsibilities.
Okay, let's talk a bit of politics now before the program wraps up. You know, in the House of Representatives now, a group of 30 lawmakers now are proposing a bill. I think they are about to sponsor a bill now for a single term tenure for presidents, a single term of 6 years, and it should be rotational. Is this, would you say, a sustainable solution to the issue of governance in Nigeria?
No, I don't think so. Now, I don't really believe in this sectionalization of leadership. However, you have to face reality. So, for instance, the way we are as a country, I would say for now, maybe for the time, in the short term, into the nearest future, we should still envisage a situation where we rotate presidency north and south. But we have to outgrow that, so that
Well, the rotational they are proposing, the rotational presidency they are proposing will be among geopolitical zones.
Please, that is just utter nonsense.
But won't it enhance inclusion and give people a sense of belonging?
It will be taking us backwards. We should be able to get, if it is two Urobo men, one after the other, that Nigerians decide to vote for, that is, let it be. If it is two Bashama men from Adamawa that Nigerians decide to vote for back to back, let it be. Now, as for this tenure, there is a reason why people came up with this idea of you do a term of 4 years, then you contest again to do another term of 4 years. You see, if you know that if you mess up your first term, you won't get a second term, it spurs you to perform in that first term. Then even in that second term, you also want to leave a legacy. And it spurs you because you would like to push somebody to succeed you, who will maintain your programs and surpass them. So for that reason, you also want to perform.
Some people have also said, it's distracting, when a president is in power for 4 years, before the end of the first term of 4 years, politicking for a second term already begins and distracts from governance. We are already seeing that politicking happening now with some kind of alignment and visits ongoing.
They are politicking like hell in the United States of America. It has not stopped America from working.
Maybe that's a more mature democracy.
What are we a bunch of nitwits here? It doesn't mean. With all that is going on, I can assure you that what occupies Bola Tinubu's mind 24/7 is how to take care of this country, not how to get a second term.
It's not about Bola Tinubu as a person now. We're just talking about whoever occupies that position.
Yes, I'm saying that the politics, we can play politics and still govern. It's part of it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Thank you always for coming whenever we